Ladies and gentlemen, RosterWatch Nation, welcome back to the epic RosterWatch Podcast, brought to you by RosterWatch.com. My name is Alex Dunlap, here, of course, with the Trashman. We're doing the Week 6 Waiver Wire edition of the podcast. Thanks to everybody for tuning in and for the continued reviews on Apple Podcasts. We've been able to fend off our marketing overlords so far to keep these out from behind the paywall, as well as the Tradecast. I hope you guys enjoyed the first episode of the Tradecast. I certainly did. A bunch of actionable takeaways from there, but we need more ratings and reviews in Apple Podcasts. So if you could please get that done for us, we would certainly appreciate it. We see how many listeners we have, and it's just like our marketing guy says, we need to engage our listeners more to have them comment or, at least leave reviews. So we're just asking you guys, please, if you find value in this stuff, go to Apple Podcasts, leave a review. We don't care about anything except Apple Podcasts. That's all. Anyway, but Trashman, we should probably care about Spotify. I listen to podcasts on Spotify. What about you?
Yeah, that's what I usually listen to them on.
Yeah, I just, for some reason, it's like the way you game the system is by the Apple Podcast feed. I have no idea why they care so much about Apple, but that's the deal. Apple Podcasts, man. If you guys can please give us a review there. What's up to the Hunsbergler? What's up? Oh, look, man, our guy Ronald Martinez. What's going on, Ronald Martinez? As always, thanks for all the swag, brother. We always appreciate it. Lifetime Longhorn, how you doing, Johnny Dimes? Good to see all you guys, man. All right, so we are going to go over Week 6 on the waiver wire. Oh, just another quick thing for anybody that's got the new RosterWatch Premium, 10-6 with our boy Can't Miss Mitch with his NFL picks this last week against the spread. It feels good getting down on a 10-6 week from Can't Miss Mitch. So if you guys are interested in any of that stuff, man, that model and that algorithm has been popping off so far. I doubt it'll give us a 10-6 week every week, but that goes to show, man, it's a great product over there. RosterWatch Premium. We're now giving bets against the spread over there. Okay, Trashman, it's a big week on the waiver wire. We said that it's the once a year week. It's the monster. It's the Kenny Walker week. Ken Walker. Apparently, he likes being called Ken now. Ken.
He's a man.
Yeah, he's grown up. He doesn't want to go by Kenny. But Kenneth Walker, now that we know that Rashad Penny is out for the season, we did see this last week, Kenneth Walker, who is basically available in about 55% of leagues. I mean, he's out there in some of these leagues.
He's out there.
Just last week we saw him shoot off the big run where we all just texted each other and we said, holy shit, here it comes, the Kenneth Walker stuff. In the end, 8 touches for 88 yards, 58% snap count, no targets in the game versus New Orleans. But what's interesting is coming out, Kenny, I keep wanting to call him Kenny Walker. Coming out, Ken Walker was not somebody who we really thought of as anybody who would come in to an immediate pass catching role the same way we thought about guys like Breece Hall or James Cook or Rachaad White, right? Because that just wasn't the way he was used at Michigan State. What we talked about, though, was that, people said the same thing about Melvin Gordon. Remember Trashman? They said he was just a Big Ten volume back, never caught the football, never had a high target share. And if you look back just at Ken Walker's usage through through the beginning of his NFL season, I mean, he had a target in week 4 whenever he wasn't, only used 36% of the time. In week 3, I was looking at 3 targets in week 3 when he only played 13% of snaps. It was almost like they were bringing Ken Walker in as a complimentary back to Rashad Penny to use him as a pass catcher, And so, but I don't know if that role would change if he's sort of in a lead situation here. They still have DJ.
I just added DJ Dallas at the end of this list. That's one thing I had thought to do, but
a deep league. DJ Dallas is this Travis Homer stuff. We have some questions starting to come in. Ronald Martinez asking if both our addresses are still the same. You know what, Ronald Martinez? I don't think my address is still the same as it was last time I gave it to you. So
mine wasn't either.
Yeah, you can shoot me a DM, brother. Like if you got any new swag to send, man, we definitely love the stuff. But yeah, you can just hit me up on DM. Let's see. Daniel Schaefer has a question. We'll get to I just wanted to finish this. I just wanted to finish this thought. what if Ken Walker can take on Rashad Penny's role, plus he can like catch some footballs too? What if they can mix those two together?
Yeah, that'd be rad. I mean,
even if they don't, it doesn't matter.
You know, when Russell Wilson leaves Seattle, those turns into a passing team.
It's just awesome, right? Gino's on the list. I mean, geez, dude.
Gino's number 7 quarterback on the season.
You wish you had him instead of Russell Wilson, trash man.
I do.
But hey, but about Kenny Walker, I just think the most important thing is you'll be able to go in and see our free agent budget bid stuff for all these guys on the cheat sheet the trash man lays out, that I kind of quality control before we come on. But I don't think it's going out on a limb and saying that this is it. This is the week. If you got the money, if you got the hammer, if you have the max bid on anybody else, just make the max bid on Ken Walker. I don't think we're going to get a better situation than this. This team is good, right? This offense is good. They got a good quarterback. I said it on the radio. And I don't mean they're good like they're good. I don't mean that the Seattle Seahawks are going to vie for even their division.
Like the Detroit Lions offense.
Yes. They're good for fan. Like, this is a good situation now. DK Metcalf, he's in a good spot. Tyler Lockett is in a much better spot than any of us imagined coming in. Geno Smith is good. This defense for Seattle is so bad that they're going to find themselves in scoring position. And a lot of people would say, well, if that defense is so bad, they're going to find themselves in losing game scripts. And to that, I say 2 things. 1, all right, fine. 2, Ken Walker might be a better pass catcher than we give him credit for based on his kind of 1B usage coming into this week. And I guess three things. If the offense is this good, they found themselves in scoring position, right? It isn't always that DK Metcalf's gonna take it in from 54 yards. Sometimes he's gonna get, he usually won't get caught, but there are going to be times whenever these guys get into scoring position and they're going to hand it off to Ken Walker, who was the best pure runner in this class, a better pure runner than Breece Hall. Breece Hall just met everything on the whole profile as far as the analytic stuff that we look at from the testing, as far as the pass catching stuff, from a pure usage standpoint in college, right?
Well, and if you just look at what Rashad Penny did in the week's previous game, I mean, you see the kind of potential Walker could have.
Yeah. Okay. So that Ken Walker is an awesome, awesome prospect, and he's stepping into an opportunity that right now looks a lot better than any of us would have imagined pre-season. So the big takeaway this week on the waiver wires, it's a big week on the waiver wire because of Ken Walker. If he's available in your league, which he is in a little bit over half of leagues, and I understand he might not, he might have been drafted. Byron drafted him in both of my main competitive friends leagues, right? I figure that you probably have 12-team leagues like that are very competitive, where you're like, man, Ken Walker's not available. If he's available, you gotta use the top waiver priority, use your max bid, do what you can, just get him on the squad. We're not gonna have another. We're not gonna. I don't see another opportunity like this because trash man. Here's the thing. Like Rashad White, if Fournette gets hurt, someone's gonna own him, right? Somebody's gonna own Tony Pollard if Zeke gets hurt. Somebody's going to own Alexander Madison if Dalvin gets hurt. Like this is. I mean,
I say that Jaylen Warren might rival Walker in the potential.
Okay, all right. So Jaylen Warren. All right. So if Najee Harris gets hurt, maybe at that point in time you would like Jaylen Warren, but Jaylen Warren out of Oklahoma State is nothing compared to the prospect that Ken Walker was coming out of Michigan State. And Pittsburgh is it looks like a joke of an offense, and maybe that's just recency.
Tell that to George Pickens' face.
I'm not saying it to George Pickens. that guy could be crazy. All right, so here's some questions. Daniel Schaefer asking, if you guys have time at the end of the show, 14-team half-point PPR, which wide receiver would you pair with Zeke to trade for an upgraded running back? I don't want in a 14-team league. Geez, you great wide receivers for a 14. I mean, Tyreek, AJ Brown, Pittman, DK Metcalf, and DeAndre Hopkins. You should probably. I don't know. I'm not going to sell Tyreek. I don't want to sell AJ Brown. I mean maybe
Pittman, maybe.
But is Pittman a little bit of a sell low right now?
Maybe. Yeah, I'd say so.
I mean, maybe you could sell the hype of Hopkins returning. Maybe if you don't buy into there's still Trashman and I said that this New Orleans game was our time to see whether or not it was going to be like a Ryan Fitzpatrick situation with Geno Smith where he turns into a pumpkin, and he still could turn into a pumpkin, So this stuff with DK Metcalf could be short-lived. I mean, you certainly are selling him at the epitome of high right now. If you can trade like Zeke and DK Metcalf to get up to, I don't know what you're thinking, but
yeah,
I mean, it depends on who you're trying to get up to. If you're trying to get up to like a DeAndre Swift or a Jonathan Taylor or
a running back, okay, yeah,
yeah.
I mean, you can maybe buy low on a Jonathan Taylor right now.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that would be fine. Lifetime Longhorn says, as abysmal as the Indy offense is Alec Pierce is available. The guy's getting targets. Alec Pierce, I added him onto the cheat sheet. Trashman, I guess, didn't want to put him on there. He was one dude who if you look at the targets,
I thought I already had him on there.
That's why I do quality control, Trashman. I got to make sure Alec Pierce is on the sheet, even though you and I both don't really like him. But I mean, dude, it's clear he's overtaken Paris Campbell for sure. And if you look at the snap counts this last week, he's overtaken Ashton Doolin, who's been banged up too.
I mean,
so he's the number 2 there. He's athletic, but
I'm only picking him up in PPR leagues.
I think Alec Pierce is worth picking up right now and spending 10 to 15% of your budget on if you have a need at wide receiver. I mean, he can fill. Dude, we have buys coming up. Buys are here. What do we have this week? I know we have the Lions. We got the Raiders.
He's absolutely dropped for him. I mean, I would have dropped Disley before.
Oh God, yes, drop Disley for sure. And then, I mean, that's not even a question. You drop Will Disley and you can pick up Alec Pierce. Also, lifelong Longhorn says, also shout out for the cheat sheet. You got audibly laughed at when he drafted Jacobs in the 5th round. He's the one laughing. There you go. Josh Jacobs has just been a usage monster, dude. We were bullish on him compared to the industry when he's going to 7th round and stuff like that. But I mean, he's been even much better than we'd ever thought. As far as other guys here at running back, Trashman, I think that, I mean, is anybody you want to hit on specifically? No one's in Ken Walker's territory, but guys like Brian
Coleman looks like the number 2 in San Francisco.
Until Elijah Mitchell comes back, right?
Yeah.
And then, so to me, that feels kind of like that stuff with Tevin Coleman. To me, feels kind of like Tyler Algier in the way that, and maybe to a lesser degree, Eno Benjamin, because with Eno Benjamin, I feel like he's going to get the run now, right? He's going to get the run now, unless James Conner makes it back next week. Arizona is going to be at Seattle next week, which is the number 1 matchup for opposing running backs. If Connor can't go, we know that Darrell Williams got hurt, and we know that Jonathan Ward got hurt. I mean, what are they going to call Keontae Ingram up off the practice squad? I mean, this is going to be the Eno Benjamin show versus Seattle. So for a 1-week pickup, it's almost like, I mean, he's in that tier sort of below with guys like, Mike Boone, who probably needs to be picked up after or he should have been picked up last week, but after we saw the role that he was set for, 10 half-point PPR points in his first game in the new role. And I'd say Rachaad White is in that same thing, even though it's looking like he's kind of more of a handcuff. I'm not sure what kind of standalone value he's going to have.
Too.
Yeah, Brian Robinson is in that mix as well. So
I mean, he already looks like the number 1 there.
Yeah, for the Washington football team. I mean, they've talked about him like he's the number 1. I've never liked him. I mean, I thought he was an okay college back. I thought at the Senior Bowl we got. Can you believe the way?
I just think we had some really good backs at the Senior Bowl this year.
Well, but can you believe how people laughed at us for saying, dude, it's not a question that Dameon Pierce is best, and if you're talking about who's second best, it's Rachaad White. It is not Brian Robinson. But I mean, it looks like he's going to be the kind of Peyton Barber plus, right, for the Commanders. And Antonio Gibson is just absolute dust. We got Hollywood Rules saying got so much exposure to Breece Hall and Pierce. The King of the North, the one true King in the North.
Yeah, if you use the cheat sheet, you drafted Dameon Pierce. You have Dameon Pierce on your team.
You got a lot of Breece Hall, and people, people said like I'm getting too many rookies. I'm getting Breece Hall, and I'm getting Dameon Pierce, and I'm getting Chris Olave and Drake London and stuff. It feels good, right? It feels good. You got to trust your boys. We got Minion Hunter chiming in. What's up, Minion? Good to see you, brother. Okay, so but anything else at running back? I thought Joshua Kelly's usage.
Yeah, Joshua Kelly. I mean, looks like he's leapfrogged Sony Michel.
Oh yeah, Sony Michel's done, dude. He's about as done as that knee of his. These Georgia running backs and their busted knees. Okay, wide receiver. We still have George Pickens up here at the very top because even in the worst matchup of the week last week, I actually wrote him up as a sneaky DFS play for the Fantasy Life newsletter that we do every 2 weeks, the RosterWatch value plays over there. But I mean, in the first week of Kenny Pickett starting, we had Pickens get the 8 targets for 6 and 83 on 76% of snaps. Now Deontay Johnson did out target him with 13 targets, but he only reeled in 5 of them for 60 yards. George Pickens looks like the alpha. He looks like the best wide receiver that the Steelers have. He kind of is. I mean, he's the best prospect.
He's got the most upside, I feel like.
It's going to take a while for him to be, it's going to take a while for him to assimilate to the NFL game to a way where he can be, really thought of as above Deontay Johnson. But to me, this is very much a CeeDee Lamb entering into the Dallas Cowboys offense as the best wide receiver they had, even when they had Amari Cooper. Right. It's like he's the best prospect. It's going to take a while for him to ascend and get that NFL seasoning. But it feels like it's going to come sooner than later with George Pickens. So right up at the very top of the sheet for him, not up in the Ken Walker, not in the go ahead and not in the just push them all in territory. But, I mean, it's like if you didn't go get him last week when he would have been a little bit cheaper when everybody's worried about that Buffalo matchup, this is the week to go ahead and get him on board. Because he's not going to be available. He simply is not going to be available for any longer after this week. He's going to go to somebody. Pittsburgh this week is facing Tampa Bay, and as tough as everything is with that defense, it's a lot tougher against opposing running backs than it is against opposing wide receivers. And as we saw last week, man, Pickens, when you're that kind of alpha status, it is like, you could be matchup proof.
Yeah.
He really is a sick dog. Just a sick puppy, that George Pickens, dude. Like Trashman said, you don't want to talk, you don't want to run into him in a dark alley and say anything to his face, dude. The King of the North says he got offered Dobbins and Elijah Moore for Keenan Allen. For his Keenan Allen?
And a 1-point PPR?
Yeah, it would depend on the rest of your receivers.
Yeah.
Here he says them. So he has Adams, he has Tyreek Hill, he has London, and he has Pickens. But you start 3. I think I keep Keenan Allen in the PPR there, brother. I think I keep Allen in the PPR. But tell the guy it's a good trade and that you appreciate the trade. This isn't the kind of thing where you want to shove that guy's nose in it. I think he sent you a good trade offer. Peter Jimenez says, do you think Montgomery and Kirk for Lamb and Kenneth Walker is a fair trade?
What side are you on?
I mean, if it's a fair trade if I get Lamb and Kenny, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Karis Potts just said, I just got Hollywood for Najee Harris. Should I also trade Montgomery for DeAndre Hopkins? I have A. Jones, Breece Hall, and Cordell Patterson. No, at this point, I think that once you traded away Najee, you don't want to be trading away Montgomery as well. And for anybody else listening, I'm not bullish on trading high for Hollywood Brown right now.
Yeah, I mean, and you don't want Hollywood and DeAndre Hopkins on the same team.
Yep, for sure. So we would not make that trade. But thank you for the question, Karis Potts. Okay, so Trashman, besides Pickens, I mean, there's a grip of these guys in this sort of 10% range that you can go for. I mean, Alec Pierce was mentioned. Jamison Williams, the rookie who's going to be coming online here, maybe as soon as after the bye. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to wait for word on him for the Detroit Lions. But DJ Chark has not been cooking the way that I thought. And I know you love Josh Reynolds. I think Josh Reynolds turns back to dust once Amon-Ra St. Brown is playing more than 30% of snaps, on a complete snap count.
But you remember, like, Goff and Reynolds had that history going back.
I get it. I mean, I know it. And Goff, and like I talked about on the radio show, like, Reynolds is a NFL player. He's good. I mean, he's done it in the league. We've seen it. Like, it's fine. But I think it takes a special situation. And I think with TJ Hawkinson now coming on, and with DeAndre Swift coming back, and with Amon-Ra St. Brown showing that he can dominate with a 30% target share, I'm not sure how much cheese there is left to kind of bite off there bite off the cheese, something. Not sure how much meat there is on the bone.
I guess there are a few.
There are a bunch of these other guys. I mean, you can go look at them. I just wanted to mention Wan'Dale Robinson too. Wan'Dale's going to come into one of these games, trash man, and we're all going to be reminded about Wan'Dale.
Well, until Slayton looks like the number one receiver in that offense.
But the thing is, he's not. I mean, he's not going to be. Wan'Dale's going to come in. He's going to immediately be a beast. He's going to look like Wan'Dale Robinson has always looked. And people are going to say, "How did we
coming back this week?"
Well, I mean, he was inactive last week, but they traveled to. Was that the London game?
Yeah.
Because Dable beat the Packers in London, just unbelievable. But so Kadarius Toney didn't travel, right?
Yeah.
But Wan'Dale traveled. But he was just inactive. I think that means he'll be back pretty soon, right?
Probably.
I mean, I pick up Wan'Dale. Just maybe just a cheap bid this week. I wouldn't start him his first week back, but maybe if you're daring and you need to, I wouldn't. I'm telling you, Wan'Dale's going to come in and he's going to do something that's going to raise some eyebrows, given just the lack of all other alternatives in that offense. But any of these other guys that you wanted to mention, Trash Man, I mean, I saw that you put Diami Brown on here somewhere. I was wondering where you're going to stick him after that big game, but he just did not. He did not play as much as I expected.
He had 2 catches.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And from
Mac Hollins could be a good play this week if Davante Adams gets suspended.
He's not going to get suspended for that. He's going to get fined. No, dude, he said sorry. And that was a bullshit move by Davante Adams, though, by the way. I was watching it last night when I was like going off to bed. I saw that. I was just like, I turned my head. I was like, what did I just see? Did he just shove down a cameraman? Like, just crazy. But I think that's the thing where you get fined, man. That's a heat of the moment kind of deal. He apologized. He tweeted out an apology. He said sorry. I mean,
we'll see. I mean, I don't know. It might be if your bench is deep, it might not be a bad idea to add Mac Hollins this week, just in case.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if there was no Devontae, maybe, but Hunter Renfrow is back. It's funny. There's been
Mac Hollins is playing 87% of snaps, even with Renfrow.
Yeah. And much like Josh Reynolds, he's an NFL player. He's an NFL player. We've seen him do it. So I mean, I can kind of get it, but I'm not going out way over my skis to plan for a Devontae. Jeez, man. And here's the thing: Davante Adams is on bye, so they're going to suspend him after the bye. You pick up Mac Hollins for the bye week.
You wouldn't have to pick him up prior to waivers. You pick him up later in the week.
Yeah, bullshit move by Davante Adams for sure. Okay, who to start? I don't know who to start yet. I'm sorry. I just got the matchup tool up. We haven't pulled in the expected points model. So if you want to come to the site and ask a little bit later in the week, once I actually have all my tools in front of me and I can give you a better answer, I will. But me giving you an answer right now is no better than any other random person giving you an answer right now. We need to pull in the tools and we need to see the data. I just now put up the matchup tool. So, okay. Would you trade Jones for Montgomery? Trade Jones or Montgomery for wide receiver 1? Yes, I would trade Montgomery for wide receiver 1. Yep.
He's talking about who's he talking about?
I want to be wide receiver heavy. I have Hollywood, Lockett, Kirk, Bateman, and Allen. I can start 3 wide receivers in a flex, or just staying pat. Well, look, if those are your wide receivers, it's going to be hard for me to not, whenever Allen's healthy, it's going to be hard for me not to start at least Lockett, Christian Kirk, and Allen. And then Hollywood's going to be we'll just see what happens when DeAndre Hopkins comes back, but I think he'll be fine. I think AJ Green is going to be the one who gets swindled the most whenever DeAndre Hopkins comes back. I don't think you necessarily need it. I think probably if those are your wide receivers, I'd imagine you probably don't need to be making a trade right now for a wide receiver one. David Montgomery just came back and just like he completely cut.
Rashad Bateman's
hey, dude, so much for any Wally Pipp, Khalil Herbert stuff.
Yeah,
that's just like he's just. Would you trade Fournette for this is Goomba 195? Would you trade Fournette for CeeDee Lamb full PPR? I would not. Well, his running backs are CMC, Barkley, and ETN. His wide receivers are Olave, Mike Williams, Cooks, and Juju. I still wouldn't. Fournette, 13 targets last week?
If you could stick Fournette in your flex every week,
So Chris H is saying the guy Adams Bush filed a police report, usually the precursor to a civil lawsuit. I think they'll let it go to a civil lawsuit. Do you know what Devontae Adams needs to do is just pay the guy off. If you learned anything from any of these recent deals, it's like these guys wish they would have paid people off before things got too salty and came to a head. So let's see. We have what Lifetime Longhorn saying. He's just asking somebody else that. Luis Diaz is asking, is Connor and Michael Thomas for Swift too much? Oh, I wouldn't think so. No,
I don't think so.
Michael Thomas has been banged up, and so is James Conner.
Yeah, James Conner is is an injury waiting to happen.
And you guys should know, man, if you listen to this show or you listen to us I'm always going to go for the bigger name, sicker players who I know that can be big difference makers down the stretch, and I'll always trade two pieces away in a consolidation trade. I'm all about the consolidation trades. I am not about the liquidation trades. And being on the good side, getting the best player in a consolidation trade is the one that I'll generally be on. All right, Trashman, as always, we're going to have a bunch of these guys we're going to get to about can you drop them. But before we do, just anything, I think we probably just need to talk about Taysom Hill with the wasteland that is tight end right now. It's almost like you can get a bagel out of anybody any week, but you can't you can't get a 35-point upside from just everybody any week.
Yeah, and they say they're going to continue to plan on using him in the running game.
Well, they're paying him $10 million a year.
Yeah.
They obviously want to use him as an offensive weapon, dude. It hurts. It hurts for Kamara was used terrifically. Can you imagine the game that Kamara would have had if not for Taysom versus Seattle? God, and what a tilting game. And what about Olave getting hurt? Just so bad. I was thinking Taysom Hill might need to be up one.
I thought about maybe putting him one tier up.
So I think if you guys use the cheat sheet and you're hurting badly at tight end, I think maybe at least while Andy Dalton is still there, I think you can go a tier higher on Taysom Hill. Feels like they'll use him more whenever Dalton's in, though, right? Than Jameis.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, I wanted to tell him Hayden Hurst, I think, is actually a decent play potentially.
Oh, dude. Yeah. Hayden Hurst.
Especially if Higgins can't pull through.
Yeah. We see Cincy gets at New Orleans this week. Not a great matchup for tight ends, but we'll see. All right. So a couple more questions then, Trashman. We're going to ask you about players you can drop, then get out of here because I got to get this thing edited and posted and everything before I pick up my kids and get them to their jiu-jitsu studio. Okay. So if I get Taysom off waivers, should I start him over Higbee? Higbee's one of the guys who I probably wouldn't be starting doing Taysom over right now. Goddard, Higbee, those kinds of guys.
Especially if it's a PPR format.
Dynasty League PPR. Mike Will for Mariota and Jacobs. Mike Williams for Mariota and Jacobs. Mariota is just for some depth, so this isn't super flex.
Mariota and Josh Jacobs?
Yes. What other Jacobs do you think he's talking about? Jerry?
It seems like, I don't know.
I'll be fine. Brandon Jacobs, the tiptoe burglar.
I would do that.
He'll be fine with his wide receiver core. He's got AJB, Cooper, Hollywood, Alec Pierce. Mike Will. DK. Mike Will's got the big contract. The Raiders didn't pick up the 5th-year option on Jacobs. So I don't know what they're going to.
I feel like if you need running back help, though, that makes sense.
King of the North asking, is Byron all good? Thank you for asking. Yeah, man, he's all good. That hurricane, man, it came right into his house, but apparently it just it didn't do much damage to his building. And that dude lives literally. I mean, thanks to RosterWatch Nation, man, he literally lives on the beach. So I was super, super worried. I mean, he lives actually on an island, like in the Gulf of Mexico. The thing came right over. It didn't mess with it. I think it was people inland that got more, the storm surge that kind of came inland. I think that thing kind of washes over their islands.
Well, lives in that big, it's a big, fortified building that he lives in.
Yeah. What the hell's up with Jamar Chase and the Cincy offense? He's the epitome of buy low right now, but I'm the seller. Well, you can come sell to me.
Yeah.
I'm just I don't, it's just with the guys like Jamar Chase, it's just I can't quit him. And I'm sure as hell not going to sell low to some jackal or vulture out there just like me that's circling around the queasy Jamar Chase owner. What can I do better for this week? Hurts, Mostert. Okay, dude. So this is a sit start question. We don't have our expected points model up yet, so it's gonna be harder to answer sit starts. Come to the website and maybe ask this on Wednesday or Thursday, and one of us will circle back around and get there for you. Thanks again to the King of the North saying to smash that like button. We certainly should. I'm no good at that. Smash the like button, subscribe, ring the bell, ring the bell, click the like button. Do you think that'll work?
We'll see.
Click it. I've never tried just yelling before, demanding. I guess we'll test it.
Diminishing returns.
Here we go. Let's test this out. These are some questions that came on the website and through here in the chat room. Trashman. Again, we're brought to you by RosterWatch.com. If you like this content, you can support us by getting a pro membership over there. It's a great way to interact with us. It's a great way to support what we're doing. And also RosterWatch Premium now with all the betting tools. 10-6 last week. Cha-ching. It was a good week. Not saying we'll do it every week, but we might. All right. Can you drop Kenny Gainwell?
Yes.
Okay. Can you drop Russell Gage?
Yeah.
James Cook?
Yes.
Khalil Herbert?
I'm not dropping him.
I knew that was going to be a tough one for you. I don't think I'm dropping him either. We've seen, but boy, dude, he's worthless whenever Montgomery's healthy.
But he's one of those handcuffs though. If Montgomery goes down, he's an RB1 automatic.
Yeah, and you don't want him to be, the Ken Walker that's left out there that you went ahead and dropped, because I guarantee you Ken Walker was owned by a lot more fantasy players to start this season than he is right now. People are saying, "Oh my God, I dropped him for some backup kicker or a quarterback." Donovan Peoples-Jones. I was just
yeah, he's too. It's too erratic.
This is a tough one. How about this one, Trashman? Dalton Schultz.
Well, not for when Dax comes back. You can't.
But he showed up more injured today again.
But still, but when Dak comes back, Schultz is going to be one of his top targets.
I can't believe that somebody asked this. Damian Harris.
No.
Looks like he's going to be out for a couple of weeks.
I don't know who you're dropping him for.
I would drop him for Ken Walker.
Kenny Walker or George Pickens, maybe.
But I would try and drop somebody else besides Damian Harris, right? Yeah. Like maybe this next guy. What about Rex Burkhead?
Oh, yes. Get him out of here.
Paris Campbell?
Yeah, you can drop him. I hate to say it, but you can drop him.
Here's some tough ones. These last 5 are tough. Can you drop Hunter Renfrow?
Outside of a PPR,
he's getting squeezed, man. He's just getting squeezed. It is what it is. They paid him the money, so he's probably happy as can be, but he's getting squeezed. The Rams running backs.
I don't have a single Rams running back on any.
Okay, Cam Akers, Darrell Henderson, can they be dropped?
I mean, you want to try to trade them, but
So
I would drop both of them in a heartbeat for Ken Walker.
Who are we going to go to and send Darrell Henderson?
So you could probably, in like a deeper 14-team PPR league, you can probably trade him.
Elijah Moore. Have you seen his usage since Zach Wilson's come back?
I don't want to. I mean, he's still an amazing player. He's hard.
I told you it's hard. But I mean, people are saying
you can drop him.
4 targets, 1 catch on 66% of snaps.
You could drop him for a George Pickens. You could drop him for a Ken Walker. You could drop him for, a Michael Gallup if he's still unowned.
I would.
Jacoby Myers maybe.
I think I would only drop him for those top 2. There's just too much still. There's too much. He's still too good a player. Okay. Chase Edmonds. Chase Edmonds of Mr. What was his snap percentage last week? I mean, it was the worst. It was the worst yet. Trashman. Let me pull it up. So snap counts, touches.
Ross Mostert outtouched him. What was it like? 13-8 maybe.
He outtouched this last week.
Yeah.
19-1.
It was 19-1? No, Chase Edmonds has more than 1 touch, right?
I mean, I'm looking at the snap counts, targets, touches tool, unless it's bringing in the wrong data. Let me look at week 4. So week 4 was Raheem Mostert had 17 touches to Chase Edmonds 7, but Chase Edmonds had the touchdown. And then the week before, Chase Edmonds had the 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
15% of snaps.
Had 1 touch.
Okay.
But you can drop Edmonds.
Have you confirmed the 1 touch? It's not just the snap counts? Yeah. Okay. Lifetime Longhorn, before I get you to the hardest question, Lifetime Longhorn's asking, is Julio Jones safe to drop? I say yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And then finally, Trashman, can you do it? Can you drop him? Mr. Unlimited, Mr. Russell Wilson, dangerous. Broncos country, let's ride. Broncos country, let's let Russ cook and burn down the whole damn kitchen.
No, I mean he had a 30-pointer the week before.
You can't drop this. I would just want him off my team. I would just want, I think he's such a bad. I think he's such a bad teammate that
I'm trying to find ways to trade him.
Yeah, all right. How about this, Trash Man? You take your package of Cam Akers and Russell Wilson, and you come back and tell me the can of goddamn beans that you're able to get for those 2 jerks.
You